think one of the biggest issues of adulthood is realizing the busier we get, the harder it is to maintain friendships. And the more I read about connection and relationships and friendships, the more I truly believe busyness is the enemy of friendship. At some point, we have to ask ourselves a couple of hard questions. First, are we too busy to have friends? And second, if the answer to that is yes, we're too busy, well then what is our calendar filled with? So today we're going to talk about ways to maintain your friendships without it feeling like a chore and instead feeling like a benefit to your life. And I have to be honest with you, I do use AI in helping me script these episodes, and they were hell-bent on me giving you a system. You know, everything now needs to have a system, a framework. And here's my thing. We all love seeing people's systems. We all love reading the systems and the frameworks. Do you actually ever use them? Probably not. So here's the thing. I am not going to give you a system today. Instead, we are going to talk about some different strategies, some different actions you can do, and a couple of mindset things. And then crazy thing, I'm going to let you, like the adult that you are, choose for yourself which of these work for you. So let's start, and let's start again with that calendar we were talking about. What are you busy with? And more importantly, do you have time for friendship? I think we have to be honest that we have started treating friendship like it's optional. We schedule, obviously, our work. We schedule our workouts and our health and our family time and date night, but friendships get put to the side. And earlier today, I was reading this great thing in the book, The Art and Science of Connection, where she talked about a 90-year-old woman who said, you can't let your passions override your friendships. Some version of that. I don't think she said override, but that idea, like don't prioritize your passions over your friendships. And I talk a lot about, prioritize people over productivity. And I think there's kind of a connection and overlap there of, yeah, you can sit here and I can sit here and we can prioritize our work. When it says passions, I think for a lot of us, that's our work, or that is, for a lot of people, it's their health, right? I feel like a lot of people are really focused on their physical health and they're not paying attention to their social health. And they will prioritize that above everything. Like, no, I can't meet you for breakfast because that's my gym time, or they're spending all their time on their work projects, etc. Here's the thing. Your paycheck is not going to hold your hand at 80. It's just not. And you focus on your health that much, it is going to keep you alive at 85, but you're going to be alone. Is that fun? Is that when you decide to start making friends? I think it's going to be harder. So we have to start prioritizing connection. And I'm going to be really specific of friendship, because the other thing I see is people will say, well, yeah, I prioritize relationship. It's my family. My family is it. Well, I hate to be the one to say this, but like your kids leave, people pass away. You need more than just family. Family is amazing. Family is great. I'm not against it. You need more than just family as the people in your lives. And so we need to see if there's time on the calendar for friendships too. And here's the thing with this, it doesn't be huge amounts of time. I think one of the trends we're seeing lately that people are starting to fight against is that somehow friendship time together has become these marathon sessions that you have to get on a phone call once a quarter or twice a year for like 3 hours and catch up on absolutely everything that's going on with the person. Or you and your girlfriends finally get a Friday night dinner on the books and it's a 3-hour dinner because you haven't really talked in 3 months except for maybe an occasional text message. But I want us to go back to elementary school. Think about your friendships in elementary school, or if you want, even high school might have been a little bit more, but majority of your friendship were small, repeatable touch points. It was 10 minutes talking during recess. It was passing each other in the hall in high school, and then maybe a phone call afterwards. Those of us of a certain generation know phone calls after school, but you didn't call every friend after school. So a lot of it was these smaller touch points. And so when you look at your calendar, know that I'm not saying you need to block out 3-hour blocks for friendship. I'm talking about, do you have an hour once a week for coffee with someone? Or can you sneak in a phone call on your ride to the grocery store? Which brings me to my next point. Call instead of text if possible. Here's what I realized. Texting is cheap and easy. It's a way to like say we did it and get it off our plate. Look, I messaged somebody, I connected, I got it off my plate. And texting is better than nothing, okay? I still text people. It's not like I don't text people, but I am starting to bring back phone calls. I've been talking, if you've been listening to the podcast, I've been bringing this up a lot, and I think we all need to go back to phone calls. Normalize the phone call, because hearing someone's voice has a deeper level of connection that texting just doesn't. It's richer. We can hear their tone. The sound of their voice has a familiarity to it. Like, it matters. And here's the thing, the call doesn't have to be long. I am totally fine with prefacing a call, even to someone who I haven't talked to in a long time, by just going, hey, I know it's crazy that I'm calling. It's been a long time, but I had 10 minutes. I'm on my way to the grocery store. I'm on my way to the gym or whatever. And you came to mind. I just wanted to call and see how you're doing. Start it there. That's fine. A 10-minute conversation can do a lot for a friendship. I was thinking about this a bit today, between that prioritizing people, right, over passions, or productivity, as I say, and between that and then this idea of calling people in the creator space and in the entrepreneur space. There's a very big phrase that goes around that is create before you consume, right? Before you listen to another podcast, before you watch another YouTube video or scroll Instagram, create first. Don't let everything just go to consumption. Here's my thought. Instead, we need to connect before we consume. Connect with God. Like, my morning is connect with God. You can connect with yourself, journal, reflect, and then connect with a person. When you get in the car, instead of turning on another podcast episode, try calling someone first. If it goes to voicemail, okay, great. Now you turn on the podcast. But at least you attempted actual connection with another human being first. And I'm thinking about this for myself too. Like, just FYI, I am not pointing fingers over here. I get up in the morning and the first thing I do is get on YouTube and scroll for like, what am I gonna watch today? The amount of time I waste. I instead could just, go get my coffee with no YouTube video playing and then have my quiet time, journal, and call a friend. We all could do better at this, but think about in different ways. How can you connect before you consume? Okay, so we're gonna go back to texting for a second. One of the things I think would actually maintain a lot of friendships is to text back. I can't believe how often I hear people say, yeah, I really want friends, but like the kind that are okay with it taking me 5 days to text them back. Like, it shouldn't have to be a big deal. Or I'll get people who say, I am terrible at replying to texts because I see it and I think, okay, I want to do this later when I can be really thoughtful, and then that moment never comes. And then I feel guilty that I didn't text, and so I don't text longer, etc. Here's what I'm going to say. Done is better than perfect. It is better to text them back something that wasn't as thoughtfully written, but you actually showed you cared in replying, than waiting for the right moment. Remember, care is an action. It's not just, oh, I thought about you. Care is an action. So one thing you could do if you're the person who goes, oh yeah, I'm terrible at replying, just start getting better at replying to people. I'm not even trying to get you to initiate yet. I just want you to start getting better at replying to the texts that you get. Stop waiting for that thoughtful time that's not gonna come. Why do you have to wait 5 days to text back? Just text back. Show that person they matter to you. And when I say this, I am not saying that you have to text back within 5 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. Don't think I'm saying that, because there is like a whole debate online of, oh, some people have such high expectations that I should text immediately, etc. I'm not saying that, but I don't think 24 hours is crazy. Even if it's just a text that says, hey, I need to look at my calendar more and I'll get back to you. Like, just something to let them know you got it would be helpful. Okay, so another tactic, and I do share this one a lot, standing appointments. You want to make maintaining friendships easy? Have a standing appointment. My friend and I have had a Thursday phone call on the books for about 9 or 10 years now. Do we end up calling every Thursday? No. Do we sometimes message each other and go, hey, I have something tonight, or hey, I'm feeling, this is the one I say that she thinks is funny. I'll go, hey, I didn't sleep at all last night and I really wouldn't be fun to talk to, so we're gonna have to skip today. It happens, but because we have the standing call, majority of weeks we do chat. So it could be a standing phone call. It could be a standing event. Back in the day, we used to have bachelor night. Dancing with the Stars has become popular again. Can you have people over for just watching TV and hanging out together? That will do it. You don't have to chat the whole time, but just being in each other's presence in that way is going to help keep the relationship going. Or the one I also brought up a few weeks ago, do you just start going to a certain coffee shop on Saturday mornings and you send out a text each week reminding people, hey, I'm going to be here on Saturday. If you want to join, I'd love for you to be there. I also, in the past, have done a monthly lunch. This year it came off my calendar. I have seen the detriment it's been to my life that I took it off the calendar, and I'm bringing it back. If you want to hear more about the weekly lunch and how that's set up, I will put a link to that in the show notes, and I'll put a card to it right here on YouTube. But the idea of a standing appointment, that's just going to put maintaining that relationship a little bit on autopilot. Scheduling is what exhausts a lot of us. So take that off your plate. Do it once, set it and forget it. Okay, now a couple just sort of things to keep in mind. I don't know if I should call these mindsets to have about maintaining friendships. And first one is don't keep score. Adult friendships happen in seasons. Some people are raising kids, some are now being caregivers, people are starting new jobs, some are going through seasons where they are just trying to keep their head above water. Now, I will say in all of those seasons I just mentioned, that's probably when you need friends the most. So it doesn't mean we give up on friendships in those seasons, but we don't keep score with people because of those things. So meaning I'm not going to go, okay, well, I texted them first last time, so I'm going to wait now for them to text me. No. Or even bigger, well, I invited her to lunch, so now I should wait for her to invite me. I can't invite again. She should now invite me. Not everyone is great at inviting people to things. Do I want people to be better? Yes. If you're a person who's listening to this and you're not great at inviting people to stuff, I challenge you to pick a person and invite them to coffee. But in this idea, we don't keep score because not everyone is great at this. What I like to think about this as instead is I make effort, but I don't force. So that's why I roughly have a 3 invites and I'm done rule if there's been no reciprocation. So reciprocation doesn't mean they invited me to something. It means, did they text me one day and see how I'm doing? Did they call me and say, hey, I watched that show you were talking about, or hey, I thought of you today? It's not like tit for tat even. It might that they invite me to go on a hike or something like that, but it's more the idea of, am I the only one trying to make an effort to have a relationship? And after 3 formal invites to things that probably include texting in between or a phone call in between or seeing each other at church or something like that, if it seems like every time I am initiating each of those things, at that point, I back off. This just helps me to know that like, yep, I've made the effort and I've done what I can do, but I'm not forcing a relationship with someone who I guess just doesn't really want to have one with me, or maybe isn't in a season to have a relationship with me. So that's kind of the difference. I'm not keeping score. It's not even. It's not like, oh, well, I called her, so now she should call me. But after a few invitations, if there's no reciprocation, that's not really a friendship. So at that point, I just kind of go, okay, we'll see what happens. And let me be very clear. This helps in not getting bitter, that when I see that person around town somewhere, I'm not mad at them. It's just, oh yeah, I'm not their person. That's okay. And so I'm still pleasant. I can still be kind because I wasn't keeping score. And then finally, it is never too late to pick a friendship back up. So something I've been hearing and seeing a lot about lately online is how people want to call somebody, but they waited too long or they didn't reply, and now it feels it's been too long, and now it's getting even longer, and now it feels more awkward, and so they just end up doing nothing. I genuinely believe it's never too late. I would rather you call me 3 months, 6 months, a year down the road and go, I am so sorry. life got really busy and then I got embarrassed and so I didn't call, but I do want to hang out with you, or I would love to try to have a friendship with you. I mean, it depends on how vulnerable you want to get, right? But to say you're sorry for it taking so long and just pick back up. It's also where one of my favorite networking techniques can come into play, because it can be used anywhere, and that is see something, say something. A great way to start a relationship back up is to see something that reminds you of the person, call them and tell them about it. Send them a text message and tell them, with a picture, hey, I saw this today, I thought of you. That is a great way to get that ball rolling again. But just know, it's not too late. At worst, you're gonna have to have a little bit of an awkward and honest conversation where you might have to say, I'm really sorry I didn't get back to you, but I do value you as a person and I'd like to try again. Do it. Is the friendship worth it? Do it. Now, those were some of the things I was thinking of to maintain a friendship, but I am sure you all have other ideas, and I would love the comment section of this video. If you're watching on YouTube, or if you're watching on Spotify, you can comment there as well. I would love for you all to add in the comments, what are the things you do to maintain friendships? And I will link in the cards the episode about the monthly lunches. I am bringing them back, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.